Okay, so now we're going to talk about the weather mark and the 4 boat length zone. This is 4 boat lengths, right? It's exactly measured 4 boat lengths. Seems like a lot of distance, but that's it, 4 boat length zone. So we're going to talk about the rules, port and starboard coming up to this mark room, sorry, when you're coming up to this mark. So if the 2 boats out here establishes an overlap here outside the zone, and they sail, whip across here like that, and it's established as they're going across, still established as they're going across. So it's established as they go into the zone. 86 has got mark room rights on 33 when you come up to the mark. So sail across to the mark. 86 is calling mark room 33. 33 is a gentleman sailor. I know him personally. He says, "You've got mark room, I'll give you mark room 86. Gives him room, round he goes. He goes wide, lets him round. Okay. Scenario number 1's easy. Scenario number 2. If he's got the overlap in the zone, and like at Springfield Lakes on Saturday, you could get a big gust of wind here and he doesn't get anything. You know, it can be a boat length apart. He gets a gust of breeze and separates. This guy's still entitled to mark room. Your rights don't break with separation. So he'll get the gust again and come back up. He's still got mark room. He's got mark room entitlement all the way so that 33 doesn't let him through. Of course, if 33 gets a burst and he doesn't catch up, then it's not relevant because he can just whip around and he's not going to get in 86's way. It's always better to call him just in case, as I've said before, he doesn't know he's on port, because a lot of them don't know they're on port. So you say, you know, 86 is on starboard, and then if he's on the other tack, he'll figure out he's on port and he has to give way. So it's talking all the time. Call your mark room. I had an incident down at Paradise where I didn't call mark room, and this guy just ran me into the mark. And I said, well, it was clear, you know, I was like that. It was clearly overlapped mark. I mean, he just ran me straight in the mark. He said, well, you didn't call me. I said, I don't have to call you. You know I've got mark room. I've got an overlap. Right, so while you're coming up to that mark, you've established it as you're going into the zone. You've got your overlap. The other thing that's important, and it's different to if you do it in the zone, is 33. So say you get, like on Saturday, big wind shift. So 33's got to come right up to get round this mark. 33's got to go right up. He can call 86 up to head to wind, just before head to wind, till he's luffed up. So he can say, keep going up, keep going up, keep going up, and squeeze around that mark. So that was all established outside the zone. This guy wants to come up, this guy calls him up, this guy has to go up too.
You go in order.
And then as they come around the mark, he has to give him mark room, he has to give him mark room. So let's take the scenario when you establish it inside the zone. So say this guy's going across there, this guy's come up on port, he's come up here on port and he's tacked like that. Right? He's got the overlap, but he's established it in the zone. Now the important difference is that this guy, 3-3, cannot take 8-6 above close hauled position to get round that mark. So say they go across there like that, they're going across there like that, not quite making it, he can't push this guy above close hauled. Can't do it. He's established the overlap inside the zone. That's the subtle difference. So he can only go hold his course there. 86 can call, you made me go above close hauled, do a penalty. Sometimes you'll see it when you're coming along here, this guy will come up here and he'll tack high to try and get round that line, and this guy has to put his nose up to avoid him. You'll see that in some of the videos. He's got to just poke his nose up a bit. He has to do a penalty. He's forced him above close hauled. Got the overlap inside the zone. So let's talk about a strategy of getting around this top mark. What's going to happen is we're going to get port tackers coming up like they come up here, and a lot of that's because on the enclosed waters you come across to the bank and you'll get a lift, so you come right across to the bank on starboard and then you crack onto port to get to the weather mark. You get this great lift. You'll see it on Springfield Lake videos. It happens down at Sovereign Lake. You get this, you come right into the shore there and you get lift. So you get taken up. You actually, the quickest way to get that windward mark's to do that and come up and port. So you'll always get port tackers coming up there. So what do you do when you're on starboard coming across here? You've got these port tackers coming up here. If you're coming up the first mark for the first time round, it's always crowded. We know how it is. The strategy I use first time round is if I'm one of these boats tacked onto starboard, I'm out here somewhere. I go up a couple of boat lengths at least. That's because I don't mind if this guy comes in here and doesn't give way and tries to get in through there. He's not going to clog me up first time round. I'm trying to keep clear, keep the boat moving. So if he actually tacks in there and gets in there, I let him go. Because I've got boat speed, and as it gets a bit closer, I just crack my sheets a bit and I come down a bit. And I've got really good boat speed and I can go where I want to go because I've got water going across the rudder, and I can turn this boat, I can go up a bit if I've got to miss him, and I just call port and starboard, mate, had to dodge it. Or I've got a bit of pace and I can just get round him. But I'm up here because that's giving me ammunition. It's giving me the ability to manoeuvre better. The thing you don't want to do is come up like this. And you've got a guy coming up here on port. And you're squeezing. You're squeezing up to get round that mark. What happens when you squeeze it right up? What happens to the boat speed? Stops, doesn't it? Stops. So you go, oh, I've got to get around, and the boat stops, and all this, the sails start flapping. You go, oh, geez, I'm in trouble here. And then this guy might whack into you, or you might just lose control and flip onto port. Happens a lot, particularly if it's gusty, and you think, oh, I'm on the port, and then you're in these guys' ways. So this is a no-no until you get really good at making that judgment. When you tack out here, either inside the lane line or outside it, when you tack out there, you go wider than you think you have to go. If you're behind the fleet a bit and you see these other guys coming up here, don't join them. Get up here, out here somewhere. Give yourself a bit of speed. You know that these guys, these guys are going to have a tangle. Tell me who's seen a crowded weather mark, first mark, where they all go around together? Huh? They all go around together. Have you seen them like all locked up, da-da-da-da? Do you see them all go around smoothly and it's all boat? No, they're all locked up. You know that's going to happen. So if you stay up here, you just sail right around them. They'll all be clogged up around here. You just go out there and round the mark. You pass 6 boats. So if you tack onto this, you come out here and you tack onto there, you're this guy here, you tack there and you go, that all looks pretty tight. If I'm out here, I'll just throw in another tack just to get out here. I'll just let them go a bit. Don't wait till you get in here to do that tack, because there could be another boat here, then you're in trouble. So again, it's early preparation, and you're saying to yourself, how do I keep clear? You're not saying to yourself, how can I pass the boat next to me? It's how do I keep clear? First time round. Keep clear first time round. You'll be in the top 5 or 6 boats at the end of the race if you can get around there clean. Second time coming round, the boats are separated. It just may be you and one other. It's a whole different scenario. It's easy to dodge one, call one. You can do it. He's on port, right? So he's got no rights. He's got to give way to the starboard boats. Now, if these guys have overlaid it, which they could have, could be me, I could be 2 boat lengths out there, and He comes up there and he can see I can tack and go through there. Through his skill and experience. And if he whips through there like that and doesn't touch that boat, makes there's more separation like that, he goes through there, he can. But the moment he touches someone, he's got to do a penalty because he's got no rights. Because if you exaggerate the thing and there's only one boat up here and he's not sailing very fast, say you're lapping him or something and you've got that much gap, you know, always exaggerate things to get a clear understanding. He can come up, whip round there, no problem.
So if 86 is a novice though, shouldn't he be going around, waiting and going around 44 or going wider than 44?
He ducks.
He's got to duck all the way behind 44, all the way back.
Well, he tries to find a gap, but if he's a novice, he should be doing that. In all club races, it happens a lot. And this guy has got to learn, he's got to practice, and if he doesn't think he can get through there, he's got to come right around there and he's got to learn that the penalty he paid for coming up there on port, and maybe he won't come as close next time. Maybe he'll learn how to judge to get through, because they're normally not like, well, first time round sometimes they are sell, aren't they, just lined up. If they're all lined up, he's got to go right out there. The meaning of one mark is that if you've established mark room there, you've got mark room until you get round there, right? It's one mark. So this can't happen. You may go a bit wider there just to be sure, and he's giving you room. He can't dive in there like that and ask for mark room there, because it's only one mark. But the other thing you need to know is that if this guy wants to go out a bit wider, you have to go with him. You can't just say, right, we're going around the mark, mate. You have to wait for him to do that. Now, some people you'll hear them call 90 will say, sail your proper course 22. And what he's trying to say to him is, start heading down to the leeward mark. Why are you taking me over to the bank, right, and letting another boat come through like that? You are required to sail your proper course, but the definition of a proper course is the course that you would sail if there was no other boats on the track to get round the course at the fastest possible rate, you know, the quickest way. So 22 could argue and say, look, I'm going wide here, I'm going across the bank because I know there's breeze along that bank wide, I'm going to come out here and I'm going to go down there, then I'm going to jibe across. So in my view, that was the fastest way to go. So if you've infringed there, you know, you've either tagged him or haven't given him mark room, and you've got to do a penalty. You can't do your penalty right down here on the run. You've got to do it where it's practical. Sometimes if there's no other boats around, you can go up here and do it. Some people try to do it between the clearance marks. I don't see that successful because there's always boats coming around, unless you're last, and it doesn't matter where you do it. But I see that they come in here, tack again, then they're starting to go back up into the fleet. Get away from the fleet, come over here and do it.